Will you film everything?
Yeah.
Nice. Do you hear that knocking? Hello, is this a towing service?
It's been a long time since I made a video about the camper, and that's all because the engine of my van completely broke down right in the middle of filming the first episode. In the first episode, I ran into an engine overheating problem. We fixed it with a mechanic, and I thought the vehicle was already in working order. But the overheating had already caused damage inside. The entire piston system turned into scrap metal. Look at the scoring that appeared, and it was like this with every piston. The cylinder head also cracked completely from the high temperature, and many other parts went straight to the trash, while the van was left for a long engine repair. For all these 2 months, I was hard at work looking for parts, making arrangements with mechanics, and waiting for the moment when the vehicle would finally be fixed. And that moment has finally arrived. The vehicle was parked under a hangar rather than inside, which was already something to be happy about. But I was immediately disappointed by the repair cost, almost $2,000. The amount goes onto the list of expenses. Despite the huge hit to the budget, we will continue doing what we planned. The backyard has been empty for a long time, but today the old van will finally return to it. I had plenty of time and I prepared a project for the future motorhome. In this album, you can see the layout, an approximate visualization of the interior, as well as the technologies and a list of everything needed.
It's hard to believe all of this will soon be inside this van.
The thing is, right now there is a factory interior here, and on top of that, it smells absolutely terrible because trash and all kinds of junk are scattered throughout the entire interior. After the impound lot, we didn't even have time to clean the interior. Let's take care of it right now. We throw all the trash, cans, sticks, and even old clothes I came across outside.
I wouldn't wear clothes like that anymore.
We throw away everything we don't need. I think I know what was creating such a nasty smell, and it's cigarettes. Besides the trash, we also found some interesting things. For example, cassettes with tracks that are either already out of fashion or have become classics. Unfortunately, there is no way to play them with this cassette player, and there was a lot of different hardware in the ashtray. Look how many bolts and screws there are here. I think we could build another Nissan with them. There were coins in the other ashtrays.
Cashback.
An old flashlight with a screwdriver was lying in the door pocket. The flashlight looks pretty well made, although it doesn't work.
I think it can still be restored.
These finds were made in Germany, and there was also a BMW bag. It seems the previous owner was a fan of this car brand. Old bag was lying under one of the seats. When I opened it, I saw a lot of interesting things. The first thing I pulled out was a stethoscope. Let's try listening through it.
It works!
If you put the headphones against the camera's microphone, you will hear it too. Next, I pulled a white lab coat and some other clothes out of the bag, and underneath them were medical drugs, syringes, an old book, and a couple of cans of acid that is not sold freely. There was also a glass and a cigarette. The owner clearly wasn't taking care of his health.
I think I know what the previous owner did for a living.
Interesting find. I'll keep the bag for myself, and I'm throwing everything else straight into the trash without a second thought. It's already much more pleasant to be inside the van, and now I'm going to take the interior apart. We take all the tools we have and start stripping the vehicle down to the metal. Using a wrench and a ratchet, we undo several bolts, after which we easily remove the first seat, which was soaked in years of dust. We completely disassemble the middle row of seats. Surprisingly, I took it apart pretty easily. We can throw away the old linoleum as well, but we ran into some difficulties with the rear row. Some of the bolts were so badly seized that they couldn't be unscrewed just like that. I know one trick that a mechanic showed me at the auto repair shop. We take another wrench, connect it to the first one like this, and thanks to the extra leverage, we can easily unscrew the bolt. And in some cases, I had to resort to using a cutting tool. During the disassembly, I almost burned down the van. but we still managed to remove the seats. Next, we unscrew the grab handles. By the way, we carefully sort all the hardware in case we need it again. The handles were holding the interior trim in place. We pop it off with plastic trim tools, while some elements can simply be removed by hand. I also throw the long pieces outside as we don't need them anymore. I pull out the old smelly carpet. By the way, there was something resembling sound insulation underneath it. The thing is, it's just ordinary thin foam that won't make the vehicle much quieter. We throw that away too.
Now there's plenty of room here. And this is the entire interior of the Nissan Vanette.
I found a use for the van seats almost immediately. We loaded them into the future camper and drove to my friend's country house. In his shed, he made a lounge area out of old seats where you can get together with friends, play games, grab a bite to eat, and just have a good time. But we need to continue the build, so we head back to the city, straight to the hardware store. We go to the lumber section as we need to buy a lot of things here. I take some wooden beams, several large beams, as well as several slightly smaller ones. We'll also need 3 sheets of particle board and 2 sheets of OSB. We go to the checkout, buy everything, and can load the building materials into the vehicle. It already looks like a cargo van after removing the interior. Absolutely everything fit, so we can head home. We unload all the materials we bought. This is what we'll use to build the motorhome, but a little later. And now we remove the front row of seats and the interior trim, as they will only get in the way during the rest of the work. But before that, let's clean everything up.
It's very dirty here.
The interior is covered in absolutely everything. We take a shop vacuum and thoroughly vacuum the floor of the motorhome. We pay special attention to hard-to-reach places and work without the wide attachment. We also remove dust and large debris from the front part of the interior. Dry cleaning alone won't be enough. There is dirt all over the walls, but the worst part is on the floor, where there is glue from the old sound insulation. I take a bucket, add plenty of cleaning solution, and use a sponge to wash the dirt off the walls. We wash every corner without missing anything. And ordinary water won't remove the glue from the floor, so I took gasoline and simply poured it onto the floor, after which I scrubbed it intensely with a brush. I do this work wearing a respirator, otherwise the fuel fumes could send you to the hospital instead of on a camping trip. It took a very long time, but at least the back is clean now. There is no dust anywhere, and there is no glue under our feet. We'll have to work a little more on the front part of the interior. I wanted to give the interior the most thorough deep cleaning possible. We apply cleaner to the dashboard and remove all the dirt from the tiny pores with a brush, then wipe it with a damp cloth. The air vents need special attention. It feels like someone deliberately stuffed dirt into them. We don't leave a single element in the interior without attention. To clean the door panels, we'll apply fabric cleaner. We attach a special brush to the drill and clean everything with the power tool. Look at how the cleaning solution pulls all the dirt out of the material. The van ceiling also needs to be deep cleaned. I cleaned it as best as I could. It didn't turn out perfect, but it's definitely better than it was. To make the seats look like new, we apply a foaming cleaner to them, and after some time, we clean them with a drill and a detailing brush. The difference between the clean seat and the dirty one is enormous. Let's get this one back into shape as well. I'll also fix this hole in the headrest. To hide it, I cut out a patch from a less noticeable area and simply glued it in place. It turned out great. All the detailing cost $30, while professionals would have charged at least $100.
Next, we'll work on the soundproofing.
After all, a camper isn't just for sleeping and relaxing, but also for getting to different locations. I bought a couple of types of sound insulation. Now I'll demonstrate how it works. Can you hear that ringing sound? We apply the sound and vibration insulation, then roll it down with a special roller. I drop the bucket after applying it, and the difference is simply incredible. It sounds like it's not even made of metal. But before applying the sound insulation to the floor, we need to degrease it. I'm using silicone remover for this. We go over the entire floor. This is necessary so that the sound insulation sticks properly and doesn't peel off over time. We can start applying it. We place the first sheet, making all the necessary cuts with a utility knife. We remove the protective layer and stick it down first with our hands and then roll it over again and again with the roller. The squares from the sound insulation serve as markers so we can see where we've already rolled it and where we still need to work. Above the engine area, we soundproof everything as thoroughly as possible because this is where most of the noise inside the cabin comes from. And then we soundproof the entire rear part of the interior as well. The wheel arches are also very noisy while driving, so we cover them. The sound and vibration insulation is installed. It will already make the interior much quieter, but I decided to go all out and also got some felt sound insulation. I used it only on the noisiest areas, the area near the engine, as well as the wheel arches. Now the interior will be quiet, but the walls haven't been soundproofed yet, and I think you can hear how noisy they are. We'll soundproof them and insulate them at the same time. For this task, I bought special insulating foam. We apply it to the walls. Compared to the previous soundproofing methods, this one was a piece of cake. You simply pull the trigger on the gun, and the material goes onto the wall exactly as needed. We're completely finished with the soundproofing and insulation. You couldn't come up with anything better for a motorhome. All of this cost another $200. The front interior can already be put back together, but before that, I went to the car wash. I foamed the carpets, then thoroughly cleaned them with a carpet brush and washed all the dirt out with high pressure. I didn't want to lay new carpet because this one goes perfectly with the color of the future motorhome, and after washing, it started to look much fresher. I lay it back in place. Then we can put all the removed plastic panels back, as well as the seats. The interior has been transformed, although this old steering wheel really stands out. It looks like someone chewed on it. We remove the center insert and unscrew this nut, after which we can easily remove the steering wheel itself. To replace it, I bought this steering wheel made in an Italian style, but it will also fit an old Japanese car perfectly. However, it cannot be installed without an adapter. We couldn't find a ready-made one for our car for sale, but we do have an old steering wheel, from which we cut out the mounting section and part of the frame. We drill holes in the blank. Using a special tool, we cut threads into them and get an adapter. We screw it onto the steering column and then attach the new steering wheel to our homemade adapter. In my opinion, you couldn't come up with anything better for our Nissan. The steering wheel is brand new, looks great, doesn't look out of place, but on the contrary, it almost reminds you that this is JDM. The gear shift knob also seemed a little boring to me, so I replaced it with a billiard ball. In my opinion, it goes perfectly with the new steering wheel. Another new purchase for the motorhome was this brand new head unit. Now we'll install it and you'll understand what I liked about it. We removed the old stereo, then we slightly enlarged the mounting opening for the new one. I connect the plugs and it's ready. We turn the ignition key and everything works. The screen lights up. Of course, it's a touchscreen, but most importantly, it supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It will be possible to conveniently switch tracks without being distracted by a smartphone while driving. And also use navigation. Find a new camping spot and conveniently get there.
That's exactly what a camper needs.
The stereo doesn't spoil the interior visually at all and works perfectly. And also, so that everyone around would understand what kind of car this is, we printed these identifying license plates. It's like they were missing here from the very beginning. The interior modifications and new plates cost me another $145. We'll cover the front part of the interior with plastic film for the duration of the work so we don't get it dirty, because the work will continue in the rear part where the living area will be. Let's start with the floor. With a circular saw, we cut the timber down to the required dimensions. Now we need to attach them to the floor. To do this, we attach metal brackets to the pieces of timber and then screw them to the floor with self-tapping screws. We make several support points for each strip so that nothing rattles or falls apart while driving. After the longitudinal beams, we install the cross beams. They will eliminate horizontal play in the structure. We ended up with a simple and reliable floor frame. If we look at the project, we can see that we plan to have running water in the motorhome.
Now it's time to install the plumbing.
We want to hide all the plumbing under the floor so that it doesn't spoil the interior or take up space. We drill holes in some of the wooden beams, and we connect the hoses to each other, using adapters to make everything reliable. We run the hose from the front to the back of the motorhome, and so that nothing comes loose or gets damaged while driving, we screw in these pipe holders and secure the hoses in them. We ended up with a fairly simple water supply system, and making the drain is even easier. We cut a round hole in the floor of the vehicle. We insert a drain trap into it and carefully seal the installation area. The entire drainage system is almost ready. We'll still need to install the pump, but we'll do that once the floor is finished. Its installation is the next task. These OSB sheets were bought specifically for the floor. To get the perfect floor piece, we had to prepare a cardboard template that precisely follows all the curves. Using it, we mark the material, after which we cut everything along the lines. We ended up with pieces that fit perfectly with the frame, as well as with all the curves. We screw the piece in place with self-tapping screws. It holds firmly and doesn't flex at all. We'll install the flooring later, but for now we need to make the wall frame. But before that, we remove the rear windows. They need to be completely tinted so that the frame cannot be seen through them. First, we trim the film to the required shapes and then stick it on. For this, we use soapy water and special squeegees. The glass can be installed back. I can't see anything through them from the inside, and from the outside even less. We attach several vertical wooden beams next to the windows. Nothing can be seen from outside, which is exactly what I wanted to achieve with the tinting. The wall frame is ready. The body itself will also serve as part of it.
Next, it's time to do the wiring.
We connect a plug to the main wire, which will be plugged into the power station. A little farther along, we strip the wires and solder another section of wire to them. We thoroughly insulate everything with hot glue and electrical tape. We run the cable through the frame and secure it with zip ties. To have electricity in the kitchen area, we run a wire under the floor and make another connection for an outlet, while the end of the wire will go to the lighting. This is the entire electrical system of the motorhome. Now we can work on the walls. We'll make them from thin and flexible particle board. We place the pre-made template against it, draw the markings, and carefully cut everything along the lines. We test fit the piece. It fits like it came from the factory, so we can attach it. We drill holes and then fasten it with rivets. In my opinion, this method of fastening looks much neater than using ordinary self-tapping screws. We attach the first wall panel around the entire perimeter and we drive a few tiny nails into the wooden frame. I fasten the second panel with rivets. We'll mask the joint between the panels with sealant. We apply it and then smooth it out with a spatula, but it would simply crack from the vibrations while driving, while the sealant will hold. We cut out the piece for the second wall, after which we attach it in the same way. The walls are covered, and so far everything is turning out great. And now I'll make the outlets and switches. We drill holes with a large drill bit and slightly finish them with a knife. We can connect the outlets. There will be as many as 3 on each wall because we plan to fill the camper with a lot of equipment. We install the switch in the same way. We won't install the decorative covers yet because we'll be painting the walls next. I approached the selection of materials as carefully as possible and we chose light gray paint. This kind of paint goes on extremely well on any surface. I paint the edges of the walls and around the outlets with a small brush and then paint everything with a roller. We also painted the door panels the same color as the walls. They fit perfectly with the interior. Now we can attach the decorative covers to the outlets and switch. Especially for the ceiling, I bought these decorative panels at a hardware store. They are exactly like in our project and look really cool. We screw the panels to the ceiling. The ceiling turned out incredibly beautiful. These slats, combined with the light walls of the motorhome, create the effect of making the space look larger. Now we need to cover up this ugly OSB on the floor. For a motorhome, linoleum will be the best solution. I chose gray, sticking to a modern style. Good thing I didn't throw away the template I used to cut the floor. Using it, we marked the cutting lines on the linoleum. We cut it out, leaving 2 centimeters from the markings so that we can neatly fold the material over. I also cut out the holes for the hoses. Now we can glue it down. We apply special adhesive to the floor with a spatula and then glue down the linoleum. We mask the joints between the walls and floor with baseboards. It turned out magnificent. We can finally install the water pump. Later, it will be hidden under the bed. Let's check whether all the utilities are working. The pump is pumping water and of course responds to the faucet. The drain is also working. Let's check the outlets. There is power. The lamp is on and the smartphone is charging. The renovation can be considered complete. The floor, walls, ceiling, and all the utilities cost $390. At this stage of the build, the camper is costing me as much as $4,335. At first, this was supposed to be the cheapest camper, but some unexpected problems changed the plans a little. But in my opinion, the build itself is going according to plan and is turning out much better than I had imagined.
This isn't a room in some house or hotel. All of this inside a bus that was abandoned until recently. I can't wait to finish the furniture and finally go relax.
Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next part, as well as the upcoming journey in the coolest camper in the world.